Today we take a trip to Roxborough to visit Walnut Lane. The golf course will be getting a much-needed upgrade to its irrigation system, and we'll preview how that could impact this Philly favorite. Plus, our teed-off panel reconvenes to react to the annual list of the top 100 golf courses in the world. But we begin at DuPont Country Club, where its PGA head golf professional was recognized with the highest honor given by the Philadelphia PGA, an award that highlights leadership, strong moral character, and a record of service to the local section and to the game of golf. Michael Caldwell, thanks for joining us today.
Happy to be here. Thanks for coming down to DuPont.
Congratulations, winning the 2025 Philadelphia PGA Professional of the Year.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great honor. You know, there's a lot of great professionals in this section, so to be recognized in that group is pretty special.
What does that mean to you to win that award?
Well, you know, it's a career that has had some ups and downs. I would have never in a million years dreamed that I would be right here, right now. So it's been quite the journey, and so you know it's the journey that makes it sweet, and that's where I'm at with it. It's just I couldn't have predicted this in a million years, and I'm so grateful to those that have helped me along the way to get to this spot.
So let's start at the beginning of the journey. I want to know, was there a moment when you knew that you wanted a career in golf?
Not specifically. Again, like any high school kid, I went to college because I thought that was the thing that you were supposed to do, right? I didn't know what I wanted to do. I played golf growing up. I would spend some time at my grandparents' house out in California. I'd spend a month playing, and then I wouldn't pick up the sticks again for, you know, the rest of the year, probably in some cases. So, you know, golf was there, but it really wasn't. I played basketball and baseball growing up, and so I went to college, and, you know, like a lot of guys, I floundered for a couple of years and, you know, had fun, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I stopped going. And it wasn't, I didn't really have a plan, but I knew I wasn't going to waste my time or my parents' money because that's just not who I was. So I was going to figure it out, and I had heard about the Golf Academy of the South down there in Orlando, and where I was living at the time, and went and checked it out, and that was probably October of 1996, and in January of 97, I was enrolled, and it was the best 16 months I've ever spent. I wasn't a very good player when I started. I couldn't break 100, and I left as a 4 handicap 16 months later. So I put a lot of time in, probably at the detriment of my relationship at the time, but it's worked out. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. So between then and now, you've had a few stops along the way in your career. You told me for a few years you were at Bitterman. Before that, you were a caddy for a few years at Marion.
I was. What
was that experience like?
So I started caddying to allow myself the freedom to be able to be there for my family when I needed to be, and honestly, I wouldn't trade it for anything. You know, you see things through a different lens as a caddy when you're walking the grass every single day, you know, working with players and of all abilities, and it's probably the most enjoyable job I've ever had. And, you know, but to be at Marion during that time, during that space of kind of uncertainty, was a godsend, because I was able to start to develop a relationship with Scott Nye, who's been a mentor since then. And, you know, he came into the caddy office where I was standing one day, and he just simply looked at me and he's like, "What are you doing here? You know, you don't belong here." And in the best way possible, right? It just got me thinking, and you know, one thing led to another, and I started at Bitterman that next season, and you know, here we are.
Yeah. So now you've been the head professional here at DuPont for how many years now?
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
What makes DuPont different than some of the other places you've worked along the way?
Boy, DuPont is kind of an animal in a category of its own. We have over 5,000 members here at the club. Not all golf members. You know, we have about 2,400 golf members. I'd say about 1,200 who are active, and it's just a busy place.
Yeah.
You know, we've just got people that love the game, and it's infectious. And so, in comparison, you know, where you get some sleepy times in the off season, there is no sleepy times here at DuPont. There's always something going on, and it's a great thing. You know, it's always alive around here, and it's a special place.
I want to focus on the award. You know, to be recognized for something like that, you have to be great at your job. You know, this is a strong section, like we were talking about earlier, for a lot of different reasons. Mm-hmm. And a golf professional at the club level is a multifaceted job. There's a lot of different things you have to do. Is there one skill that stands out to you, or maybe a set of skills rather, that a professional needs in order to be successful?
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, you have to be able to delegate. To run an operation of this size, to be involved in the section like I am, and to play in events, you know, you're spread pretty thin throughout the season, and so you have to have a team around you that you can trust. You know, so the hiring process to bring the right people in is, I think, the first thing, and then training, right? To have those individuals know that they're going to do the right things when you're not around.
Mm-hmm. What does a normal day look like for you here?
I don't think there is one. It changes daily.
They're all different?
They are all different, and that's why I love this business. It's because you can't predict. As soon as you try to predict what happens, and it's the days where I say, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do at all points of the day, that's when it absolutely blows up in my face. And that's partly why I love it, is because of that, right? You just don't know what's around the corner, in a good and a bad way, right?
Yeah.
It's unpredictable, but those days are, you know, emails in the morning, but trying to get out in front of the membership as much as possible, you know, talks with the team as far as, you know, planning purposes, what do we have coming up, teaching. I run a coaching program throughout the year, so I'll teach about 30 hours a month. So, you know, it varies. You're trying to play, right?
Yeah.
You know, like I said, every day is a little bit different, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Is there a part of the job that you take a little extra amount of pride in, or there's one part of it where you're like, you know what, I'm really, really good at that. That's something that I can hang my hat on every day?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. When I first started at Bitterman, working for Anthony and Melizia over there, I hated working in the shop, in merchandising. I wasn't good at it. I hadn't been really exposed to it, mm-hmm. and he made me do it, mm-hmm. and I hated it. But because of that, yeah, I've become quite good at it, and so again, you know, you look back, and those experiences are, when you're going through it, it's like, man, I really wish I didn't have to do this. But looking back on it, I'm so grateful, because it's something that I kind of hang my hat on, and I've really been able to turn the golf shop around here since I took over. Mm-hmm. We had our best year ever in the shop this year in 2025, and I get a lot of compliments on, you know, the merchandise and how we maintain the shop throughout the year. So I'd say if I had to pick one, it would probably be that.
You said in an interview with the section when it was announced that you won this award, you said this was the highlight of your career. When you look at your career going forward, whether it's you personally, your position here at the club, your role with the section, helping the tournament staff, what goals do you have for your career going forward? Is there something that you see off in the distance that you want to accomplish?
That's a great question. I think, you know, as you get to this stage of the career, you know, I'll be 49 tomorrow. And
happy birthday.
Thank you. And so you start to have a little bit of that reflection time and where you want to be. And I love what I'm doing right now, so it's hard to imagine doing anything else. But at the same time, you know, as my role at the section has increased, you know, and sharing my time with other professionals, I could see that just continuing to grow. and having those relationships and building those relationships into mentorship opportunities, hopefully. I think that's really what the PGA is all about, is mentoring those that are coming behind you and taking those opportunities. I think as you get older, you start to appreciate those a little bit more and understand the value that you have because others have taken the time, right, with me and my career.
Yeah.
And so to be able to do that for others, maybe in a larger capacity is something that I would really enjoy.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
being here.
More improvements coming for one of Philly's favorite public golf tracks. In the last decade, Walnut Lane has seen changes. The removal of overgrown trees opened up fairways a few years ago, and the now one-year-old Michael J. Brown Learning Center serves as a beautiful pro shop and community center.
Walnut Lane is an incredible, it's a par 62, which makes it great for beginners and seniors and people that are learning the game. Golf course design makes it very special. Built and designed by Alexander Finley, 1940. It was a We Poke Along program, or WPA program by FDR. And they used the fill from some of the construction in the area, Henry Avenue or the bridges, I don't know exactly what, but it's all fill, and it drains incredibly well. There's not a level lie out here.
Over the last few years, we've been investing in the property here at Walnut Lane, trying to improve the facility. Obviously, the building's already been done. The Michael Brown building here is beautiful. We've invested in equipment, trying to help Superintendent Joe Alveri with what he needs. And one of the biggest things we found was the irrigation system here is, the guts of it is over 50 years old. And he's spent a ton of time with his staff kind of putting Band-Aids on it, repairing things, trying to keep things going. And we knew that this is something that we had to make an investment in.
You can't grow grass without water, and you can't have a beautiful golf course without water in the right places, at the right time, regulated with just the perfect amount.
Sunlight, air, and water, is what grass is growing off of. And even from being environmentally friendly and really being able to dial in and put out the right amounts of water is key. And with the way irrigation systems are today, it's like everything else in technology, it's become so exact, and you're able to put out exactly what you need rather than, like when I was a kid, you just went out and flooded everything. And now Joe's going to be able to put out exactly what he wants. And from a player standpoint, you're just going to see the conditions are just going to be improved. And even now, with one of the challenges that he and his staff have had the last few years is, you're not going to see somebody fixing irrigation, having a hole dug up in the middle of the golf course as we're trying to repair an old, cast iron pipe from 50 years ago.
I knew shortly after I started working here, I saw all the labor that went into repair and maintenance of the irrigation system. And when I started looking into it and asking the city when the pipes went in and how old it was and everything, and I found out that the pipes went in 1960 and sometime in the 60s. So they're as old as I am, and it's time. We're wasting labor, constantly fixing it, and it's not only that, it's age, but it was coverage. In 2018, when Marion rebuilt, they donated sprinkler heads. At that time, the first tee ran wire, put the used sprinkler heads in, and made it automatic, and put a computer in, and now we have the ability to water at night. But we were still lacking coverage. Putting the water where it needs to go. Between the tee and the fairway, there was no irrigation. In the roughs, there was no irrigation. So we have issues with erosion and losing soil out here because of the nice elevation fall that we have.
Walnut Lane doesn't have the benefit of having a major budget like private clubs in the area, but it's come a long way.
It's got its advantages and disadvantages. It is more difficult. You have less resources. You want to produce a nice product, for the public. Doesn't matter if it's private or public. You want to put out, the standards in golf have risen, and are at a certain level, and you want to produce that. So, and it's, you know, maybe harder to obtain the resources to get there, but it's also very rewarding on the other end when you do get there and you do have the support.
Part of the key is giving them the tools to be successful, and that's one of the best parts of between Michael Brown and Bill Hyman on the board. Like, they want people to be successful. They want to give everybody the tools. They've brought in the right people, and now it's the key is just giving them the tools to be successful.
And we grew more grass in the 21 sand traps than we did on the putting greens.
Since taking over Walnut Lane operations, the First Tee of Philadelphia has brought a new confidence to a place that impacts so many in the community.
You know, you hear it from people in the neighborhood of they've never seen it in better shape, and that's a testament to Joe and his staff because they do such a great job. That people in the neighborhood come over and have a beer and a hot dog, even if they're not playing golf, and to be able to, when you're driving past the property, I mean, that's the one thing that I give credit to Joe and his staff. It's clean, it's neat, the fencing, everything's been cleaned up, the tree work, a lot of stuff along the edges to make it look nice for the neighborhood, and I think that's what you look to. And one of the keys to all the efforts that were put in was absolutely for the First Tee and for the students, and to give them a safe and good facility to be at. But the backside of that is you wanted to give the Philadelphia public golfers someplace to come play, have great greens, have a great day at a reasonable cost. And that's, you hear it all the time, that this isn't intimidating. You can come here and not be a golfer and be okay. And I think that's the challenge sometimes with somebody new to the game. And, you know, I was just talking to Max inside, who's running the food and beverage, and he said, you know, hear it all the time. I've never seen the course in such great shape.
I'm hearing nothing but positive from the golfers here. They're very grateful. They love it. Yeah, they're just grateful to be out here playing on a well-grassed golf course with quality greens. I hope they have the same compliments about the entire golf course as they do our greens. You know, we've done well with our greens. We've come a long way. It'll be a lot more playable. There'll be less erosions. We'll be able to grass the place 100% in the golf areas, which is kind of what we're looking for. No bare spots, no weeds. I think that it'll be a lot greener.
Comparing that against a new course that was built 5 years ago down in Cabo, and that's now in the top 100, you know.
Our Teed Off panel is brought to you by Lulu Country Club.
All right, folks, welcome back to Inside Golf. We are about to start our Teed Off panel. We're going to talk a little bit today about Golf Magazine's Top 100 listing. Here to share their views on it, we've got content creator Jake Stoutland. Thanks for being here, Jake.
Thank you.
You've been here once or twice in the past.
Yes.
President, Golf Association of Philadelphia, Ken Phillips, entering his third year with the Golf Association and one of the leading golf associations in the country. And so thank you for your efforts,
Thanks,
Ken.
Sally.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And old buddy, Joe Logan. MyPhillyGolf.com is Joe's website. Go there for all your local golf information on courses and news. So thank you for being here with us, Joe. So top 100 golf lists, and there's a variety of magazines that do it, but Golf Magazine came out with it recently, and it always is cause for conversation, one way or another. Curious what your feedback or what your views on the list are, if there's anything specific about it that stands out, but also share a little bit about what you personally feel like makes a great golf course and warrants the list. Let's start with you, Jake.
Yeah, so golf ratings to me are, I think they're obviously polarizing, and I always go back to, there's a famous Louis Armstrong quote. He says, people ask me, what is great music? He says, I don't know what great music is, but I know when I start tapping my toes, I like it. And for me, ratings become a way for people to judge a course, and I think that's too harsh. I think if you go out to a course and you're tapping your toe and you're having fun, then it's good. And if not, then not so much. But sometimes people really get caught up in the rankings, and I don't know. I think it's gone too far for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. What's your experience and views of the rankings, Ken?
Political, but when you look at the list, they're all great courses. You know, the top 100 in the world, you can put another 100 and 100 behind that. I liked, and I'm not sure if Golf Digest still does it, and when they would do classic courses, top 100 classic, top 100 built, after 1980, because Sandhills was always, number one after 80, which Sandhills is an awesome golf course. I like when you look at that, because to compare, some of our great local courses here, okay, classic Flynn courses and things of that nature.
Lancaster.
Yeah, Lancaster. Comparing that against a new course that was built 5 years ago down in Cabo, and that's now in the top 100. But again, I think they're great list. I think everyone likes reading the magazine because they can say, hey, I played here, I didn't play here, maybe I should try to get there. But it does come down to some of the other things we'll talk about, architecture and vistas and things of that nature.
How about yourself, Joe? What's your experience with the lists and maybe some of your favorites?
Well, I mean, I spent about 15 years as a writer for Golf Week magazine, so I have some idea of how the whole process works. And I can tell you that magazines do these because people love lists. And that's why you see, this is top in the world. Other magazines do the top American courses, modern courses,
right.
Best you can play in state, best privates, every conceivable list they can come up with.
So shockingly, it's a marketing ploy to get us talking about it and maybe buying the magazines.
Exactly. And to give you some sense and perspective of, everybody wants to say, hey, I played 3 of the top 50 courses or 50, that sort of thing. And it's good for that. And we all look at it. I mean, if you look at this list we're talking about today, the top 100 in the world, nothing has changed much. I mean, Pine Valley's number 1. It's always number 1, and for good reason. Yeah. And then, like Cypress and Philadelphia's got 2. Well, 3 if you count Oakmont, on the other side of the state. That was number 9. And Marion's number 13. Yeah. So we're well represented.
Pretty well represented within a couple hours of here, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
What of the courses on the list, what's the best that you've played? Have you played Pine Valley?
A number of times.
You as well, I'm sure, Ken. We've all knocked off number 1. What's the course relatively local? Doesn't have to be Philadelphia, but that didn't make the list that maybe you could argue that it should. Let's go back to you, Jay.
Somewhat local in the Hamptons, Atlantic Golf Club.
Love it.
Here's another part about this list. It's very architecturally driven. I think a great golf experience encompasses a lot more than just the architecture. It's the nuances around the whole experience, and I'm not sure this list captures that. And Atlantic does the architecture right, the hospitality, really everything at that course, to me, is a top 100 experience.
You're talking about Atlantic City Country Club?
No, Atlantic Golf Club.
I asked for something relatively close that we might have some connection to. How about you, Ken? Do you have one that's a little bit of a sleeper? Does Lancaster make this list, maybe just outside?
Lancaster doesn't make the list, and I think Harry had a question a year ago or so. If you had one course to play for one last round, where would it be? And I said Lancaster, because I think it's one of Flynn's best courses. Okay. Shinnecock's number 1. Yeah. But I really think it's probably his best course. The variety of shots, the routing is phenomenal.
The way he uses the land is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, and so, getting back to what Jake said, when I walk off a golf course, if I can remember pretty much every hole, that was a good golf course for me, because something got my eye. Maybe it's a little stream running through, maybe it's, maybe it's the halfway house, but it's whatever it is, it's the all-encompassing feeling that you get from a course.
I heard a great way that really fits the way both of you are talking about the rankings. A great description, other than a numerical, is if you walk off the 18th green, and if it were daylight or whatever, you would go right back to the first tee and start it all over again. Yeah. That's kind of the criteria. I mean, you mentioned it, 200 or 300 courses out of, say, 20,000 in the world. It's a very elite company. Yep. All of them are. Listen, great topic, good conversation. Thanks very much for your input, guys, and thanks all for watching, and we'll be back with Inside Golf in just a minute.
Thanks everyone for watching this week. The 29th season of Inside Golf is now underway.
The 29th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Monco Golf, the first tee of Greater Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, the Golf Association of Philadelphia, GAP, Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine, and Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia section of the PGA.